I was standing in a truck stop parking lot in Nashville at 10:47 p.m. between a man's Honda Civic and my Freightliner Cascadia, and he had just kissed me. And I knew while it was happening that it was the kind of kiss that was not going to survive the math. Not because it was bad, because I was leaving for Memphis in the morning, and he was staying on his porch with his dog and his mailbox and his life that did not move, and mine did not stop. That was 2 years and 4 months ago. I have not been kissed since. I know the exact number because when it is the last time and you did not know it was the last time, you carry the date the way you carry a scar. Not because it hurts, because it is proof that something happened there once. Tonight, I want to talk about what happens to your love life when you live in a truck. Not the version where I tell you it is hard and you nod and we move on. The real version. The version with the $14 curling iron and the $7.99 truck stop perfume and the parking lot kiss and the text that died over 5 weeks and the dating app where a man called me homeless and I deleted the app and stared at my windshield and wondered if he was right. Stay with me. Subscribe if you have ever chosen something that cost you something you did not expect to lose. Leave a comment if you know what it feels like to be alone in a way you cannot explain to the people who love you. I read every one. His name was Marcus. He was a mechanic in East Nashville. Beard, dog, porch, mailbox. All the things that people have when they stay in one place long enough to receive mail. We met on a Thursday night because Thursday was the only night I was going to be in Nashville that month, and because when you live in a truck, you do not get to say, "How about Saturday?" Because Saturday you will be in a different state, and Saturday does not belong to you. Saturday belongs to the load. I want to tell you about that date in detail because the detail is where the truth lives. And the truth is what I owe you if you are sitting here at 11 p.m. watching a woman in a truck talk about her love life. I parked the truck at the Pilot on Trinity Lane. I want you to picture this. I am getting ready for a date inside a sleeper berth that is 36 inches wide with a ceiling 28 inches above my head. I am putting on makeup using the front-facing camera of my phone as a mirror because I do not have a mirror in the sleeper that is big enough to see my whole face. I am curling my hair with a battery-powered curling iron I bought at a Walgreens in Memphis specifically for this night, a $14 curling iron that took 11 minutes to heat up and that burned my ear on the first pass and left a mark that I covered with my hair and that Marcus never saw. I put on the one outfit I own that is not a t-shirt and jeans, a black top and a pair of pants that I had been carrying in my duffel bag for 8 months waiting for an occasion, and that were wrinkled in a way that no amount of hanging from the overhead cabinet could fix. I smoothed them with my hands. I sprayed perfume that I had bought at a truck stop gift shop. The perfume was called something with the word paradise in the name, and it cost $7.99, and it smelled like what a truck stop gift shop thinks paradise smells like, which is tropical and sweet and aggressive, and nothing like the way I actually smell, which is laundry detergent and diesel and peanut butter, and the lavender sachet I keep in the sleeper. I climbed down from the truck in the Pilot parking lot in my black top and my wrinkled pants and my $7.99 Paradise perfume, and I called an Uber because you cannot drive a Freightliner Cascadia to a restaurant in East Nashville and park it on the street next to a man's Honda Civic and expect the evening to go well. The Uber driver looked at me when I got in. He looked at the truck behind me. He looked back at me. He said, "You drive that?" I said yes. He did not say anything else for 14 minutes. Marcus was already at the restaurant. He stood up when I walked in. He was taller than his photos. He smelled like soap and something woody that I could not identify and that I later learned was just the smell of a man who has had time to shower in his own bathroom with his own products in his own house and who did not have to plan the shower around a fuel purchase and a 20-minute wait in a hallway full of strangers. The dinner was good. Marcus was good. He asked me questions about trucking, and he listened to the answers, and he did not interrupt me, and he did not make the face that people make when I tell them where I sleep, the face that is half fascination and half pity, and that I have learned to recognize from across a table the way you recognize a billboard from the highway. He asked me about my family. I told him about my mother and Kevin. He asked me about my father. I told him I did not have one, not in the way that means he died, in the way that means he left when I was 3 and Kevin was not born yet, and my mother does not say his name, and I do not ask. He nodded. He did not say he was sorry. He said, "My dad left too. I was 7. And for a moment, we were not a mechanic and a trucker on a first date. We were 2 people from the same country, the country of kids who learned early that people leave. He walked me back to the pilot. He did not seem to think it was strange. Or if he did, he kept it to himself, which is its own kind of kindness. We stood in the parking lot between his Honda Civic and my Freightliner, and the size difference between those 2 vehicles was the size difference between his life and mine, and we both looked at it, and neither of us said anything about it. He kissed me. It was 10:47 p.m. on a Thursday in Nashville, in a truck stop parking lot with the smell of diesel in the air and the sound of a reefer unit whining 2 rows over, and the fluorescent lights from the fuel canopy turning everything the color of a hospital waiting room. It was not romantic. It was not a movie. It was 2 people in a parking lot who liked each other and who both knew, I think, standing there, that the liking was not going to be enough to survive the math. He texted me the next morning. "I had a really good time. When are you back in Nashville?" I was in the driver's seat heading east on I-40 toward Memphis with a load of auto parts. I typed back, "Not sure, maybe 3 weeks." It was the truth. 3 weeks was the earliest my route cycle might bring me back through Tennessee. 3 weeks is not a long time. 3 weeks is nothing when you are waiting for a package or a paycheck or a season to change. 3 weeks is forever when you are trying to build something with someone and the something requires presence, and presence is the one thing you cannot offer. He texted me every day for the first week. Good morning texts, how was your day texts, a photo of his dog, a brown mutt named Biscuit, lying on the porch in the sun. I texted back when I could, which was at truck stops and rest areas and loading docks when I was waiting to be unloaded. I texted back from the bunk at night when I was tired and my thumbs were slow and my responses were short. Not because I did not care, but because caring takes energy, and by 10 p.m. I had already given 14 hours of energy to the road and the truck and the load and the dispatcher and the other drivers and the dock workers and the scale operators, and there was nothing left. There was a handful of words and a thumbs-up emoji and the hope that he would understand that the brevity was not distance, but exhaustion. The second week, the texts slowed. Morning texts became afternoon texts. Afternoon texts became evening texts. Full sentences became short phrases. Hope you're good. Crazy day. Talk soon. The language of people who are letting go of something they were never quite holding. By the 3rd week, we were texting every other day. By the 4th, once. By the 5th, I sent him a text that said, "Hey, I'm going to be in Nashville on Thursday." He replied 6 hours later, "I actually have plans Thursday. Maybe next time?" There was no next time. We both knew there was no next time. The text was a door closing, not a slam, a slow click. The kind of close where the latch catches so quietly you are not sure it happened until you push and it does not move. I did not cry about Marcus. I did not cry because the thing I felt was not grief. Grief is what you feel when you lose something you had. What I felt was the specific ache of losing something you almost had, something you could see the shape of from the driver's seat of a moving truck, something that looked like a porch and a mailbox and a man who smelled like soap and whose dad left too. And that got smaller in the mirror, the way exits get smaller when you pass them on the highway and do not take them. I have thought about Marcus more than I should admit in a video. Not about Marcus specifically, about what Marcus represented, which was the possibility that someone could know me in the way that people know each other when they share a zip code and a dinner table and a Sunday morning and a bed that does not move. I have thought about what it would be like to wake up next to someone in a room that does not vibrate, to drink coffee with someone at a table that is not also where I keep my logbook and my ELD cable and a half-eaten bag of baby carrots. To have a fight with someone and then see them 2 hours later and work it out instead of seeing them 3 weeks later, by which time the fight has fossilized into a silence that neither of you knows how to break. I have thought about these things in the bunk at night with the fairy lights on and the lavender sachet swaying and the sound of 70 engines outside, and I have felt the specific loneliness of a woman who is not lonely because she is alone, but because she has chosen a life where togetherness does not fit. I want to talk about the other men, not Marcus, the ones I see every day, the ones at the fuel islands and the loading docks and the truck stop restaurants and the driver lounges. The other truckers. There are men who are kind. There are men who nod at me at the fuel pump and say nothing, and the nothing is respectful, and I appreciate it more than they know. There are men who hold the door at the truck stop entrance and do not make it a performance. There are men who see my truck and see a driver and do not add the word female to the front of it in their head before they decide how to speak to me. And then there are the other ones. There is a type of man who sees a woman at a truck stop the way a man at a bar sees a woman at a bar. He sees an opportunity. He sees someone who is far from home and probably lonely and probably grateful for attention. He approaches at the coffee station or in the parking lot or at the fuel island, and he starts with something that sounds friendly. Where are you headed? How long have you been driving? You are too pretty to be doing this. That last one is the one I hear the most. You are too pretty to be doing this. As if the truck requires a specific level of ugliness to operate. As if my face is a disqualification. As if the compliment is not a compliment, but a door he is trying to open with a key he carved out of my appearance. I have been asked for my number at fuel islands in 19 states. I have been told to smile by men who would not tell another male driver to smile. I have been called sweetheart and baby and darling and honey by men who do not know my name and who have decided that they do not need to because a nickname is easier than respect. I have been followed to my truck twice, once in Georgia and once in Arkansas. Both times by men who had talked to me inside the building and who did not accept that the conversation was over when I said I had to go. Both times I walked to my truck with my keys between my fingers and my pace fast enough to mean leave me alone. And both times I climbed into the cab and locked the doors and sat there with my hands shaking, not because I was afraid exactly, but because the adrenaline had nowhere to go in a space that is 36 inches wide. I did not report either incident. What would I report? A man walked behind me in a parking lot? A man talked to me at a coffee station? There is no form for the feeling of being followed. There is no incident number for the way your skin feels when you know someone is watching you cross a parking lot and calculating whether you are worth the trouble. I want to be clear. Most men out here are not like this. Most men out here are tired fathers and quiet loners and guys who just want to deliver their load and call their wife and eat a hot meal and sleep. Most men out here treat me the way they treat any other driver, which is with the casual indifference of people who are all doing the same impossible job. But the ones who are not like that, the ones who see a woman alone at a truck stop at 11 p.m. and see something other than a driver. Those ones have shaped my nights in ways that I will carry for the rest of my life. They are the reason for the mag light. They are the reason for the locks. They are the reason I park under lights and walk fast and keep my keys between my fingers. They are a small percentage of the men out here, and they have an outsized percentage of the power over how I move through the world at night. I tried the dating apps again 6 months after Marcus. I downloaded one while I was parked at a rest area in Indiana, and I set up a profile and I swiped for 20 minutes, and I matched with 3 men, and every single one of them asked me where I was located, and I typed, "I am currently in Indiana, but I will be in Missouri tomorrow and Kansas the day after that." And 2 of them unmatched immediately, and the third one said, "LOL, so you are homeless?" And I deleted the app. And I sat in the driver's seat, and I stared at the windshield for a long time. And I thought about the word homeless and whether it applied to me. And I decided that it did not, but that the reason it did not was complicated. And the complication was not something I could explain to a man on a dating app in Indiana who thought a home required a foundation and 4 walls and a mailbox that does not move. The thing about love that nobody tells you when you are 22 and getting your CDL is that love requires logistics. Love is not just a feeling. Love is a schedule. Love is being in the same city on the same night. Love is knowing that when you have a bad day, you can drive to someone's house and sit on their couch and not say anything, and they will hand you a glass of water and let you not say anything. Love is proximity, repeated until the repetition becomes trust, and the trust becomes the thing you fall asleep next to. I do not have logistics. I have a route, and the route does not care about love the way the weather does not care about a picnic. The route goes where the freight goes. The freight goes where the economy sends it. And the economy has never once consulted my heart before deciding whether the load goes to Nashville or Albuquerque. There is a woman I talk to on the CB sometimes. Her handle is Blackbird. She drives a Peterbilt 579 hauling flatbed loads out of Houston. She has been driving for 11 years. She is 38. She has been divorced twice. Both times, the marriage ended because of the truck. Not because of fighting, not because of infidelity, because of absence. Because you cannot build a life with someone who is never there, and never there is not a character flaw when you are a trucker. Never there is a job requirement. It is in the contract. It is in the lease. It is in the hours of service regulation that says you can drive 11 hours a day and rest 10, and then do it again and again and again until the weeks turn into months, and the months turn into the space where a marriage used to be. Blackbird told me something 6 months ago on a night drive through East Texas that I think about every single day. She said, "The truck gives you everything except the one thing you actually need." I asked her what the one thing was. She said, "A witness, someone who sees your life while you are living it and not just when you tell them about it later." That is the thing I cannot get over, the witnessing. My mother knows about my life because I tell her on Sundays. Kevin knows about my life because I text him photos of the places I drive through. You know about my life because I am recording this video in a rest area in Oklahoma at 11 p.m. But nobody is here. Nobody is in this truck right now watching me eat peanut butter out of a jar and adjust the fairy lights and check the locks and tug the handles and put the mag light in place. Nobody witnesses the actual minutes, the actual Tuesdays, the actual 10:47 p.m.s when the parking lot is dark and the wind sounds like a chain on the roof and you are sitting cross-legged on a 36-inch mattress in a metal box in Oklahoma, and the closest person who knows your middle name is 900 miles east in Dayton, Ohio, setting a place at a table you will not sit at until you do not know when. I am not telling you this so you feel sorry for me. I am telling you this because I think there are women watching this right now who are thinking about getting their CDL and who deserve to know the full cost. The money is real. The freedom is real. The $78,000 and the retirement account and the truck with my name on the lease, all of that is real. But the cost is also real. And the cost is not just the showers and the knocking and the parking lots and the temperature. The cost is Marcus. The cost is the kiss at 10:47 p.m. that was the last kiss and you did not know it was the last kiss. The cost is Blackbird's 2 divorces and Blackbird's voice on the CB at 2 a.m. saying the thing about the witness that you will carry in your chest for the rest of your driving life. I do not know if I will meet someone. My mother says I will. Blackbird says I will not while I am in the truck, and she says it without bitterness, the way you say a fact about the weather. It rains in Houston. It snows in Montana. You do not fall in love in a Freightliner. It is just a condition of the climate. Maybe she is right. Maybe my mother is right. Maybe both of them are right, and the truth is somewhere on I-40 between Houston and Dayton, and I will find it when my route takes me there. If my route takes me there. If the load goes that way. If the broker does not reroute me. If the shipper is ready. If the clock allows it. If. My entire love life is a series of ifs, spoken from the driver's seat of a truck that does not stop moving long enough for any of them to become a yes. It is 11:51 p.m. in Oklahoma. The wind has not stopped. The chain sound is still on the roof. I am going to put the phone down. I am going to eat a spoonful of peanut butter. I am going to check the locks. I am going to lie down in my 36-inch bunk, and I am going to stare at the ceiling where the fairy lights are, and I am going to think about Marcus for a few minutes. Not because I miss him specifically, but because I miss the version of myself that thought a Thursday night in Nashville could turn into something that lasted longer than a truck stop parking lot. And then I am going to set my alarm for 5 a.m., and I am going to close my eyes, and tomorrow I will drive. If you are alone tonight in a way that you chose but did not fully understand until it was your life, I see you. If you are sitting somewhere right now wondering if the thing you traded for the thing you have was worth it, I see you. If you have ever stood in a parking lot between a Honda Civic and a Freightliner and felt the distance between those two vehicles in your chest, I see you. You are not broken. You are not unlovable. You are in a truck, and the truck moves. And the things that require stillness, love, intimacy, being known, those things are standing in a place you drove past 600 miles ago. Maybe one day the truck will stop long enough. Maybe one day the load will wait. Maybe one day the route will take me through Nashville on a Thursday, and Marcus will not have plans, and Biscuit will still be lying on the porch in the sun, and the perfume will not be from a truck stop, and the pants will not be wrinkled, and the parking lot will not smell like diesel. Maybe, but probably not. And I have learned to carry the probably not the way I carry the Maglite. Close, quiet, always there. Lock your doors, check them twice. I will see you on the road.